Recording started. So could you see this? Yes, Himanshu.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts like what we are doing here in stability criteria in frequency domain?
No, sir, a bit understandable.
Could not understand?
No, sir, understandable.
Yeah, it's understandable. Okay, okay, good. So what we are done in the initial no, discussion about this is we are trying to map a contour in S plane uh, with help of a mapping function q of s, right? This is the mapping function q of s. It's visible screen. You can see this, right, Ben?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the mapping function q of s which I have defined some arbitrary function. So s is the complex variable, and to every point in the s plane, with help of this mapping function, I will get a corresponding point in qs plane, u plus jv plane. And if I prescribe a closed region called contour in S plane, there will be a corresponding contour developed in what? QS plane, because every point here, as long as Q of S is no defined, right? Exist. So we can obtain a corresponding point in what? QS plane. That's what we saw, right? And we are not interested in shape of the contour, right? We just are trying to describe here that there exists a contour in qs plane whenever we make a contour in s plane. Corresponding to this contour in s plane, there will be a contour obtained in qs plane. Then we quickly further put more details, like if the contour in s plane is enclosing some of its poles and zeros, then there is some relation to the encirclement of the origin of QS plane by the resultant QS plane contour. And the relation comes out to be that if there is one zero enclosed by the contour in S plane, right? When do we say it is enclosed? When that lies to the right of what? Our movement. When that point, right? The region lies to the right of our movement, right side of our movement along the contour, we say it is the enclosed region. So here 1 0 alpha 1 is enclosed by the contour in S plane. So the contour that is drawn from origin, right, in the QS plane, that will encircle the origin once in clockwise direction. So for every zero enclosed in the enclosed by the contour in S plane, there is one encirclement of the origin by the contour in the QS plane. And similarly, if there is a pole enclosed by the contour in S plane, there is one encirclement of the origin in counterclockwise direction. So if there are something like this, where total there are three poles and 1 0 enclosed by the contour in the S plane, then the corresponding contour in QS plane will encircle thrice in counterclockwise direction its origin, and once in clockwise direction, resulting in net encirclement of no two times in counterclockwise direction. So you can see here it's going in counterclockwise direction two times, right, about its origin in the QS plane, the contour that is getting generated, right? That relation is very clear, Ben, Himanshu?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Very good. Then we are coming to our natural function, the characteristic function q of s, where now we are putting little mathematical alteration and obtaining q of s as itself what? A rational function. So far we were looking q of s only from point of view of what? Obtaining the roots of the characteristic equation, solving that. But with this realignment of terms in q of s, it acts as what? A rational function itself, thereby having a ratio of two polynomials, right? Okay. Then the numerator polynomial on no solved and equated to zero, and the resulting solution would give us what? factors called as zeros of Q of S, because the numerator polynomial of any rational function leads to zeros, and denominator on equated to zero leads to what? Poles. So the numerator of Q of S gives us zeros, and denominator gives us what? Poles. So all zeros collected are shown here. And now we see the zeros of Q of S are nothing but what? Yes, Ben, zeros of Q of S are nothing but what?
Poles of closed loop.
Closed loop poles, or the roots of characteristic equation. These zeros that we are seeing, minus z1 prime, then minus z2 prime, right? And so on, right? These zeros of Q of S, you have to very clearly understand they represent what? Our no conventional roots of characteristic equation, which are nothing but what? Closed loop poles, which are also what? Closed loop poles, right? So this is what we have now brought out. One
The closed loop zeros, na sir.
no. The numerator will always give you zeros. The zeros of Q of S are nothing but closed loop poles. See, what are closed loop poles? If you write closed loop pole somewhere like this, what is closed loop? It is overall transfer function Cs by Rs, right? And for the feedback control system shown above, what is Cs by Rs? G of S upon what? 1 plus GSHS. Am I right, Ben?
Yes.
Now this 1 plus GSHS we are calling as what? Q of S, right? We arrange a transfer function as what? We arrange this as what? A ratio of two polynomials, P of S by what? Q of S. And this Q of S is nothing but denominator polynomial, 1 plus GSHS. This denominator polynomial only gives us what? Closed loop poles, right? When we solve. Now,
Yes, sir.
when we obtain by equating QS equal to 0. If we don't do that, if we simply do this mathematics here, cross multiplication of this denominator factors with 1, and getting one complete rational function no formed for Q of S, we get something called as again ratio of two polynomials in Q of S itself, before which was nothing but a polynomial to us. We did this mathematics and we got this into a rational function. Now the numerator polynomial gives us what? Zeros of Q of S. And you see here, what are these? If you put the values, right? If you put, where do you get closed loop poles? You get closed loop poles by solving 1 plus GSHS equal to 0, right? And that is nothing but what? 1 plus GSHS. Now, what is GSHS? GSHS is nothing but this. What is GSHS? GSHS is nothing but this, right? That is what given here. So if you put this value, K into no all the factors S plus Z1, where unprimed Zi's are what? Open loop zeros, and primed Zi's becomes closed loop poles. Then S plus Z2 dash dash, right? Divided by what? Your S plus P1, sorry, S plus P1, then S plus P2 dash dash, right? Now you see same thing. When I'm solving this goes here, right? So the it becomes nothing but what we see here, the numerator of Q of S, right? And solving this equation is nothing but what? Solving this complete, when this factors they come no on one side, and then when you solve this you will be getting what? Poles of closed loop system, right? Himanshu,
Yes, sir.
anyone has a doubt here? Please ask me. Ben?
No, sir, no doubts.
Sure, huh?
Yes.
So the factors, the solution that we get on solving QS equal to 0, which we normally call as roots of characteristic equation, which are also closed loop poles or the eigenvalues of the system, are same as what? Zeros of Q of S. And zeros of Q of S are shown by this prime Zi's, right? All minus Zi primes are the roots of the characteristic equation, the zeros of QS. So once we did this small mathematical step, then what we do now, we talk about now tell me about stability. What would be stability no stated with respect to this zeros and poles of Q of S, Ben? How would you state stability with information on zeros and poles of Q of S?
Location if they're on right side or left side.
If which location?
Poles and zeros.
No. I have nothing to worry about poles of Q of S. Let wherever they want to be, right? Why should I worry about poles of Q of S? What are closed loop poles? What are
Zeros of
zeros
QFS.
of Q of S? What are closed loop poles of system?
Zeros.
Zeros of Q of S. So my whole worry, my concentration, attention is on what? Zeros of Q of S. And where I want them to be always?
On left side.
On the left side. So as long as zeros of Q of S are in the left half of the S plane, my resultant system behaves in a stable way, right? Stable manner,
Yes, sir.
right? And now, how do I know bring out some kind of analytical method of determining whether the zeros of Q of S are in the left half or right half of complex S plane? For that to do, I know define a mighty contour in what? S plane. This contour encloses complete right half of the S plane. This contour encloses what? Complete right half of the S plane, because you can see here it is extending from what? Omega equal to infinity and going to real axis, and again approaching what? Omega equal to minus infinity, right? So I develop a contour that is called as Nyquist contour, right? What is Nyquist contour? Yes, it is directed clockwise and comprises of an infinite line of segment C1 along the j omega axis. It's an infinite line segment along j omega axis, where it extends from minus infinity on j omega axis to plus infinity, right? And it comprises of a arc of infinite radius. So how will my Nyquist contour look like if I want to draw here? Yes. First of all, where I am drawing this contour, in which plane? Because we are talking two planes. One is S plane and another is what? QS plane. So this is drawn in S plane, and it comprises of two uh, parts. One is a straight line segment C1. This is the segment C1, where it extends from what? Minus j infinity on imaginary axis, and goes up to what? Plus j infinity again on positive side of imaginary axis. So entire imaginary axis is part of Nyquist contour, and a arc that encloses complete right half of the S plane, as long as you can know see as far. And this arc is defined by what? S equal to r e to the power j theta under the limit r tending to what? Infinity, right? So any point on this arc, this is your second part of Nyquist contour, second segment. So for C2, I substitute S equal to what? R e to the power j theta, right? Polar form representation under limit r tending to infinity. And how is this theta varying? Yes, Ben, theta, this arc extends from, because this Nyquist contour is drawn in which direction? In clockwise direction. It is directed, how it is directed? In clockwise. So it extends from what? Point where angle theta is plus 90 degrees. We know on positive imaginary axis theta is 90 degree, right? Right, Ben? So
Yes.
theta varies from plus pi by 2, then it comes and meets real axis where it is 0 to, it again goes to negative imaginary axis where it is minus pi by 2, right? So that is how theta varies for the segment C2. That is having the arm, the arm of which, right, the phasor length, the phasor length is of infinite radius. What is R? The arm of the phasor, right? That is describing this arc or the semi circle of infinite radius. So that is your segment C2. And what is segment C1? How will you map segment C1? Here it's all imaginary, whereas here for segment C2, S was what? Complex, having magnitude and phase angle, whereas on imaginary axis, S is always what? Imaginary. So I can substitute S equal to j omega, and omega varies from what? Minus infinity to what? Plus infinity, right? Here it goes from minus infinity, right? It is coming from minus infinity and goes up to what? Plus infinity. And remember the direction of the Nyquist contour, it is clockwise direction. In this direction you prescribe a Nyquist contour, right? Because earlier also we have been drawing the S-plane contour in clockwise direction, right? Now once I have defined a contour, Nyquist contour, then I have to see whether it is enclosing any poles and zeros of Q of S. Okay, if it encloses if it encloses, let us say, p poles of Q of S and z zeros of Q of S, then what will be the encirclement in the QS plane? Then if this is the QS plane, right, QS plane imaginary axis is given by what? JV, and real axis is given by what? U in QS plane, right? It is transforming S plane into QS plane by the mapping function Q of S, right? So here, if the Nyquist contour is enclosing P poles of Q of S and Z zeros of Q of S, then what will be the encirclement of the origin of QS plane by the contour gamma Q? Yes, gamma Q is nothing but what? 1 contour 1 plus GH, right? Q is 1 plus GH. So what will be encirclement of the origin of the QS plane by the contour gamma Q? Ben? Guys, are you there or signal is lost?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. What will be the encirclement for every single zero enclosed by the Nyquist contour? What will be encirclement of the origin in QS plane?
Clockwise, as
Z
many as
times.
zeros.
Clockwise in what? Once. For every single zero, there will be one encirclement in clockwise. For every single pole, there will be one encirclement of origin in the QS plane by the resulting contour in counterclockwise, right?
Yes.
So if there are P poles and Z zeros, then resultant encirclement is N given by what? Yes, P minus Z in CC direction, in counterclockwise direction. How many times will it encircle? Yes, it will encircle n
P minus
times,
Z.
right? It will encircle what? N times in what? In where n is equal to what? P minus Z, right? P times in counterclockwise direction for poles and Z times in what? Clockwise direction for Z number of zeros. So net encirclement will be what? P minus Z in counterclockwise direction. Do everyone understood this, what I stated?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's very good if you have understood this, right? We have done everything that is required to understand for Nyquist criteria now. Now see friends, we have done 90% of Nyquist criteria, where we have understood the mapping or the encirclement of the origin of QS plane corresponding to poles and zeros of Q of S. But even now, what is the contour that I am talking? Which is this contour? This contour is gamma Q contour. Okay. Now I am designating that contour by gamma Q. Gamma is just used to represent, designate that contour in QS plane. But what is Q? Q is 1 plus GSHS. And if I am doing investigation of roots of 1 plus GSHS by drawing the contour 1 plus GSHS, I am not doing any big thing. I am doing big thing when I am able to tell about roots of 1 plus GSHS from information of GSHS only. You get me, friends? That is what root locus was also telling us, right? So what we do in order to have open loop frequency response telling us about the roots of 1 plus GSHS, again we do a little mathematics. What is that mathematics? The mathematics is this: GSHS is equal to as good as what? Yes, friends, 1 plus GSHS minus 1. Yes or no? Right? GSHS, can I write like this? 1 plus GSHS minus 1. Yes or no, friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now 1 plus GSHS is nothing but what? Q of S. 1 plus GSHS is nothing but what? Q of S. So whatever is happening with contour gamma Q drawn from the origin of QS plane, whatever is happening to the contour gamma Q drawn from the origin of QS plane would also be applicable to the contour drawn from what? Minus 1 plus J0 point will also be applicable to what? Contour drawn from minus 1 plus J0 point in the QS plane. Are you getting me, friends? Will also be applicable for what? The contour GSHS drawn from minus 1. Yeah, now it is complete. Whatever is happening for the contour QS drawn from the origin of QS plane will also be applicable to the contour gamma GH drawn from minus 1 plus J0 point, right? So if the contour gamma Q is encircling origin of QS plane n times, where n is given by P minus Z, it is as good as contour gamma GH encircling the characteristic point minus 1 plus J0, again same manner, n equal to P minus Z times in counterclockwise direction. Did you get this? This completes our Nyquist stability criteria.
Yes, sir.
Right? Whatever is true for contour gamma Q, right, encircling the origin is true for contour gamma GH encircling the point minus 1 plus J0, right? Or indirectly by this simple mathematics, right, I have shifted the origin of QS plane for me mathematically, right, to no 1 to what, 1 0 instead of 0 0, minus 1 0, right? So whatever I was doing about drawing a contour with phasor from origin in respect to gamma Q of S, right? In respect to gamma Q is same as drawing from the characteristic point minus 1 plus J0. Where is minus 1 plus J0? On negative real axis at unity distance from origin, right? This is minus 1 plus J0. So if the contour is enclosing twice in counterclockwise direction the origin, which contour? Gamma Q, then the contour gamma GH will encircle what? Yes, the
-1.
minus 1 plus J0 point twice. It will be same. Are you getting this, friends? So our whole attention from encirclement of origin by QS plane with this mathematics shifts to what? Encirclement of characteristic point minus 1 plus J0, right? By what contour? By GSHS contour. Any questions here? Yes. Ben, any questions?
No, sir, no questions.
But are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Himanshu, Shri?
Yes, sir. Understandable.
Okay, let us move then quickly. Let us take an example. So can Himanshu, you summarize what is Nyquist criteria? It is such a powerful stability tool in frequency domain, right? Even after so many decades, 6 7 decades of its existence, this has still same relevance. Yes, friends. So that is what we did here. Ben, the contour that was corresponding to QS encircling the origin of QS plane has now shifted to what? Contour gamma GH encircling what? Minus 1 plus J0, right? Here, the shown contour encircles how many times? Once the origin of the QS plane. So the contour gamma GH encircles minus 1 plus J0 once in same clockwise, anti-clockwise direction, counterclockwise direction. It is which direction? Clockwise, right?
Clockwise.
Yeah. So if it is encircling in clockwise direction, then the contour gamma GH also encircles the point minus 1 plus J0 in clockwise, right? Are you understanding this, friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let us now go to, yeah, this I have got in red line here, in not red line, in red fonts. This is
Sir,
Nyquist. Yeah, please.
sir,
I want to.
for example, if the counter goes through an origin in the QS plane, in the picture we have seen that when it goes through -1 point, we couldn't see that it will cover the origin, right, sir?
See, you are talking of this Shri, right?
No, sir. Gamma GH counter.
This
It
is
is
gamma
not.
GH contour.
Yes, sir. So
Ah.
it's not closing the origin, no, sir.
No,
Like
no.
it's not
Now
encircling
for
origin.
gamma GH contour, we are not bothered about origin. For gamma GH contour, we are bothered about point minus 1 plus J0.
Yes, sir. So will it always not encircle the origin, or sometimes it may?
It may
Uh,
or it may not be. I am not bothered. For example, here it is shown that it is not enclosing the origin, right? Here it is shown the gamma GH contour is not encircling the origin, right?
yes, sir.
But I am not bothered if I extend this contour and I make it like this also. That is not my botheration. My botheration is whether this point is encircled or not. Which point? Oh, sorry,
Minus
not this
one,
point, this point.
-1
Yeah, I
plus
am drawing
J0.
now contour from minus 1 plus J0. Earlier, I have drawn the contour from what? Origin that was encircling the origin once in clockwise direction. Now I am drawing the contour from minus 1 plus J0. And if this is true, then the new contour that will be formed will be encircling this point once in clockwise direction. Whether in
Okay, sir.
encircling it extends beyond origin or before origin or from origin is none of my botheration. I am only bothered
Okay, sir.
whether this point is encircled by the contour that I am drawing from this point, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
And it will be always that if the contour, let us say QS contour, if this is contour QS that is encircling the origin, that is encircling the origin once in clockwise direction, it can be anything, right? Then, sorry, let me draw it properly here. Yeah, right. This is in clockwise direction. This contour is gamma Q that is encircling the origin. This is your QS plane. This is your JV. This is your U. Then when I draw the what contour from this point, let us say this point is minus 1 plus J0. Here it was shown that earlier contour is enclosing minus 1 also, right? This contour is
Yes,
enclosing
sir.
minus,
Yes, sir.
need not be our botheration. We are not bothered. We are only bothered about origin when it is gamma Q contour, and when I am plotting gamma GH contour, then I have to see if this is the point minus 1 plus J0, then the resulting contour, right? If this is the point, right, minus 1 plus J0, if this is the point, then the resulting contour gamma GH, this is gamma GH contour, encircles the point minus 1 plus J0, right?
Yes, sir.
how it is passing through origin, we don't care. When it is gamma GH contour, when it is gamma Q contour, how it is passing through point -1, we don't care, right?
Okay, sir.
Our whole attention is only about encirclement of 2 points. If it is gamma Q, origin of QS. If it is gamma GH, it is -1 plus J0, right? Because this contour we are drawing from this as center, right? Origin. This contour I am drawing from this as no center or the origin. Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. Now let us take an example. So we have this. Yeah. So this is written here in no red font. If the contour GH, now this is Nyquist stability criteria, friends, right? And it you see beautifully now it is relating the open loop frequency response, right, to what the roots of the characteristic equation. Same thing what root locus does, but that was in time domain, is brought out for us the relation from open loop transfer function to what closed for closed loop poles. Roots of characteristic equation are closed loop poles. So we are able to comment on that with contour gamma GH of open loop transfer function corresponding to Nyquist contour in the S plane, encircling this characteristic point in counterclockwise direction as many times as the number of right half S plane poles of GSHS. So if the contour gamma GH encircles the characteristic point as many times as the number of right half S-plane poles of GSHS, the closed loop system is stable. Do you understand this, friends? What it tells? See, what is this statement here? The number of encirclement. It encircles the point in counterclockwise direction. How many times? Equal to number of right half S-plane poles. The closed loop system is stable. Now, what is the relation between the encirclement of the point -1 plus J0 and P and Z? The relation is N is the number of encirclement of this point -1 plus J0. P is what? Number of poles enclosed by the Nyquist plot. And Z is the number of zeros of Q of S enclosed by what? The Nyquist plot. So for closed loop system to be stable, what we want? We want Nyquist contour. Where is Nyquist contour drawn, Shri? Nyquist contour is drawn in S plane. Where is Nyquist contour drawn?
Right, sir.
In S plane that encloses complete right half of the S plane, right? And corresponding to this contour, the contour that we obtain in QS plane, right? For a stable system, it should not encircle what? For stable system, what would you say about Nyquist contour? For stable system, there should not be any roots in the right half of the S plane.
Yes, sir.
For closed loop system to be stable, there should not be any roots of the characteristic equation, which are closed loop poles in the right half of the S plane.
Yes,
And
sir.
those roots of characteristic equation are nothing but what? Zeros of Q of S. So Nyquist contour should not enclose any zeros of Q of S, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
When closed loop system is stable, when Nyquist contour is not enclosing any zeros of Q of S, then what happens to the encirclement of -1 plus J0 point? It becomes nothing but encircling the characteristic point -1 plus J0. How many times? How many times? P times. N should be equal to what? P. If there are no zeros of Q of S enclosed by the Nyquist contour, then what does this Z becomes?
0.
0. What does this Z become? 0. What is this Z?
0.
What is this Z here, Ben?
Zeros
Zeros
in
of Q of S
right side.
or closed loop poles.
No. This Z is not only zeros of Q of S. Ben, do you
In the
want to
right side.
further correct him?
Zeros of Q of S in the right side of.
Very good. This capital Z is number of zeros of Q of S in the right half of S plane. There can be 4, 5 zeros, or depending on the order of system, a sixth order system will have 6 zeros of Q of S. But as long as all the 6 zeros are in the left half, Z is equal to 0. Because Z is what? Number of zeros of Q of S in the right half of the S plane. So for a closed loop system to be stable, the corresponding contour, which contour? Gamma GH obtained from open loop system, the contour gamma GH should encircle -1 plus J0 point P times in counterclockwise direction. Because Z is 0. Are you getting me? Then only
Yes.
system is stable, right? If I am told that there are two right half open loop poles, P is what? P is also the number of right half open loop poles. The number of poles, open loop poles that lie in the right half of the S plane. So if there are two poles that lie in open loop poles that lie in the right half of the S plane, then how will be the contour in QS plane? About -1 plus J0 point. It will encircle this point how many times? 2 times. In what direction?
Anti-clockwise.
In counterclockwise direction, right? Like this it will be. This direction it will go, and again this direction it will go. So it is encircling the point -1 plus J0 2 times in counterclockwise direction. So if this is the condition found out, we can say closed loop system is stable, right? But if there are two right half poles in the two right half open loop poles, and there is 1 0. So if there are two right half open loop poles, and the net encirclement of point -1 plus J0 is something like this, only once in counterclockwise direction. What does this indicate? When Shri, anyone? Friends, listen carefully. If there are two open loop right half poles, right? If there are two open loop right half poles, and the contour gamma GH in S plane encircles only once in counterclockwise direction. So tell me
There's
what
one
is,
zero.
huh?
There is 1 0 on right side.
How we will find out that? Use this relation. Always fall back on this relation. This relation is called as Nyquist stability criteria. So in this, what is the value for n here in the problem just stated by me?
2.
What is n here? N is number of
N is number
encirclement
of.
in
This one,
counterclockwise
sir.
direction. Here, how many times it is encircling -1 plus J0?
1.
In
1.
counterclockwise 1. So n is 1. And what is P here? P already said that there are two poles in the right half of the S plane. So P is 2, right? Minus Z. Z is what? Number of right half S plane zeros, right? Number of right half S plane zeros of Q of S. So from this, what is Z equal to? From you have to solve this equation to get Z. What is Z equal to from this equation?
1.
1.
That means how many poles are there in the right half of the S plane? Closed loop poles. 1. Z is right half closed loop poles, right? So when Z has come out to be 1, is the system stable or unstable?
Stable.
Unstable.
Who said stable?
Unstable.
Unstable, sir. 1 right half.
Yeah, 1 right half closed loop poles.
Unstable.
Unstable system. You understood, friends, what I am doing here?
Yes, sir.
From
Yes,
given
sir.
open loop system, I will always know what? P. What will I will always know? P. From open loop system, I will know P. P is the number of right half open loop poles, right? Now say if it is open loop stable system. If it is open loop stable system, and for closed loop system to be stable, what should be n? For open loop stable system, what is p? Friends,
2.
2.
how to, friends? Open loop stable. P is what? Number of, right? Now forget about this. This case is over. A fresh case, I am telling you. For open loop stable system, what is P? Open loop stable means what? None of the poles of open loop should be in the right half of the S plane. Yes or no? Open loop stable means none of the poles of the right of the open loop system should be in the right half. So P will be 0 in a
0.
open loop stable system. Here, when I told in my previous discussion here that P is equal to 2, what is the nature of open loop system when P is equal to 2?
Unstable.
Yeah, open loop itself is unstable, but closed loop system can be stable. When closed loop system can be stable, when n is also equal to 2. If P is 2, open loop is unstable, but if capital N is also 2, that means Z is 0. That means closed loop system is stable. If P is 2 and Z is 1, if P is 2 and N is 1, then Z is coming out to be what? 1.
1.
That is unstable. Now, if P is 0, sorry friends, if P is 0, that means open loop system is also stable. And for closed loop system to be stable, Z should be what? For closed loop system to be stable, Z should be what?
0.
0. Closed loop system is stable only when Z is 0. Then as per Nyquist stability criteria, what should be N?
0.
That means for a open loop stable system and closed loop system to be stable, there should be no encirclement of what? The characteristic point by the contour gamma GH. Are you getting me, friends? So N is 0. If this contour encircles this point, then N will not be 0. Let us quickly take an example. Now, I hope I am able to convey the underlying point about Nyquist stability criteria. It is relating to what? The, yes, stability of closed loop system from what? Open loop system itself, right? With only open loop system. Let us take this example. Oh God, I am getting little cough. 1 minute. Yes, friends, let us do something here for finding out this. Or let me take numerical example first here. What should I do? Okay, let us start with this simple one only. Okay, friends. Now, what is given to us? GSHS is given to us. It corresponds to a unity feedback system, right? If open loop transfer function is given to us, we have to find out what is the closed loop system. So what we do here? Yes. What is the first step in Nyquist stability criteria? We draw, friends, step number 1. You can hear me, everyone?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So step 1 is first obtain Nyquist contour. First, what you have to obtain? Nyquist contour. So what? Draw Nyquist contour. This is how you first draw Nyquist contour when you start stability. Show segment C1 here. Show segment C2 here, right? So this is drawn from origin. This Nyquist contour, remember, is always drawn in what? S plane, right? And this is your j omega axis, right? This is your real axis, sigma axis. So for C1, how is the mapping? Yes, friends, this is C1, right?
Minus infinity to
For
infinity.
C1, you put S equal to what? J omega. It is imaginary, right? Always, right? For C1, where omega varies from what? Omega varies from what? Minus infinity to what? Plus infinity, right? Because this is r of infinite radius. This second segment C2 has a arc, right, where S is given by what? R e to the power j theta, where r varies, approaches to what? Infinity. It is a infinitely long arm of the semicircle, right? So that is for C2. So for that, your C1 encompasses entire imaginary axis from minus infinity to plus infinity. So once you have drawn the Nyquist contour, right? Next, I will obtain the mapping of GSHS for each of the two segment, right? C1, for C1, what I do, I put S equal to j omega, right? So what I get for mapping C1, I get gj omega hj omega, right? And what is gj omega hj omega here equal to? K upon j omega t1. I have put S equal to j omega, right? T1 plus 1, and this is j omega t2 plus 1, right? Or now I have complex function in hand. I will get its magnitude. What will be magnitude? Magnitude will be of numerator will be k, of denominator will be what? Under root a square plus b square. So it will be omega t1 whole square plus 1, again under root of omega t2 whole square plus 1, right? And what will be the phase angle? Phase angle will be minus tan inverse of imaginary by real, that is omega t1 minus phase inverse of what? Tan inverse omega t2, right? So I have no replaced my segment C1 with this relation, right? Transformation, right? Where for segment C1, S is equal to what? J omega. So my GJ omega, HJ omega has become like this. Left hand side is what? GJ omega, HJ omega, right? Any questions here, friends? Yes.
No, sir.
So now what I do, I will obtain the frequency response for this part. So what I do, I vary my omega from 0 to infinity, and again from minus infinity to 0, and see where is my gg omega hg omega, because I am interested in contour what? Gh. I am interested in what? Contour gh. As s varies in s plane, what will be the contour prescribed gamma gh in qs plane? So here let me keep my qs plane ready. This is qs plane, where this is imaginary axis jv and this is real axis u. So when I put omega equal to 0, right? Here when I put omega equal to 0, what will be magnitude? Yes, friends?
K.
Magnitude will be k, and phase angle will be what? 0, right?
0.
Tan inverse of 0 is 0. Okay, so when omega is 0, let me say somewhere here is my magnitude. I am here, right? This is 0 degree line. This is minus 90 degree line. This is plus minus 180 degree line. This is minus 270 or plus 90 degree line. So when omega is equal to 0 in QS plane, where I land here on this line, 0 degree line, with magnitude equal to what? K. This distance from origin in QS plane is what? K. It is lying along 0 degree line. Now when omega is equal to infinity, then what happens to magnitude? When omega is equal to infinity, I put here omega equal to infinity, magnitude will be 0, right? 1 by infinity will be what? 0, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what will be phase angle? Phi. When omega is infinity, it is minus tan inverse infinity minus tan inverse infinity. Tan inverse of infinity is what? Pi by 2. Yes or no? Cos of 90 is what? 0. So when you get infinity, when it theta is 90. So minus 90, you are at what? Minus 180 degrees, right? And what is the magnitude? 0. Where is minus plus minus 180 degree? This is that line. So I start from here and I go here and I come parallel to 180 degree line. I come parallel to 180 degree line. The arrow indicates increasing direction of omega. So here omega was 0. I started from K at 0 degree line. For here, omega is infinity. I ended up at origin along parallel to what? 180 degree line. You got this, friends? So I have mapped positive imaginary axis. When I map negative imaginary axis, when I put now omega equal to minus infinity. When I put omega equal to minus infinity, what is magnitude? Magnitude is still 0. And what is phase angle? Phase angle is what? Plus minus 180 degree. Yes or no, friends? Because I have mapped only uh, positive half of imaginary axis, right? From omega equal to 0 to omega equal to infinity, right? Are you getting me, friends?
Yes, sir.
So for negative half of the imaginary axis, omega is running from minus infinity because our Nyquist contour is drawn in clockwise direction. So it will move from minus infinity in this direction. Your arc will proceed, right, along negative imaginary axis, not in downward direction because it's traced in clockwise direction. So when omega is equal to minus infinity, you are at again plus 180 degree line. Magnitude is 0. So you are here, right? And when omega is equal to 0 minus, now when you are reaching 0 minus along negative imaginary axis, when you are reaching origin, your magnitude will be what? K. As omega tends to 0, your magnitude will be K and you will be coming along what? 0 degrees line, right? So your mapping will be like this, right? This is how you have completely mapped your imaginary axis. This mapping is in QS plane is for what? Imaginary axis. Now what happens to the contour, the arc C2? How is arc C2 mapped in QS plane? This is mapping of C1 in QS plane. How is C2 mapped? For C2 you substitute this in GSHS. When you substitute S equal to this in GSHS, what do you get? Yes, you get K upon uh, what it will be? T1. Then what it will be? Limit R tending to infinity, right? R e to the power j theta plus 1. Similarly,